Okay, welcome everyone. We'll just give a minute for everybody to get logged in here. Appreciate you joining this webinar on the DryLINK Pro. We get to do our launch webinar, which I'm really excited about. It's been a long time in the making. Um, really started with Trimax XL way back in 2018 when we just were adding Bluetooth to a dehumidifier. And that was kind of the beginnings of connected equipment. And so it's really exciting to get to this point. I see people are still joining, so we'll give them a minute here and then we'll get started. I really want to make sure that in this webinar, I want to walk through, um, the business case, but I also want to show like the perspective of a technician and what they're going to see and what they're going to do, and then the perspective of somebody back at the office, what they can see and how this all comes together. Uh, you know, it comes together in terms of smarter jobs, connected equipment, and better business results. So, right, well, it's 10:01. We'll get started, and some others will probably join as we move along, but let's get this going. Okay. So, as I mentioned, smarter jobs, connected equipment, better business results. And before we get started, just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware, which hopefully you are. We're going to, at the end of this webinar, we're going to get a list of everybody that was present on the webinar. And for everybody present, you will be in the drawing to win one of these three prizes. So prize number one, the DryMax XL Pro Plus. Now the plus just means that we've added the hub, and you can actually see it right here. And the hub means that now you've got basically a gateway on your dehumidifier, and that's the way this whole system is structured. And so you're going to have one of these. It can be used just as a regular DryMax XL Pro, but it has that plus, so it can be used with DryLINK Pro. Prize number two, 1 year of DryLINK Pro All Access. So that includes the subscription part of this, and that gets you 1 year of jobs and asset tracking. So that's an awesome prize there. And then prize number three is 10 of our new Dry Tag 2. And the Dry Tag 2 is really awesome. It's way more advanced than your typical asset tracking tag. And one of the major things which I found is really important is we have a 10-year battery on that tag. Because what I've seen with these Bluetooth tags, which is what we also had, is that if you don't change the batteries every 2 years. If one of those dies, it disappears from your system. So now you can lose the thing that you're supposed to be tracking, and it's really hard to find which one is the one that I'm looking for to change the battery. We also have a lot of other cool features in the Dry Tag 2, including a sound chip so that you can make it chirp so you can find it. We have an LED light you can blink so you can help find it. It's a lot of great features in that. Okay, so the winners will be drawn and announced. Well, it says at the end of today's webinar. It's going to take me a little longer than that. I'll send out a follow-up email, which will have the information about who won. So, okay, with that, we'll get going. So what you're going to see today, the business problems costing contractors money, why the previous technology hasn't fully solved that problem, because people might wonder, like, okay, we already have uh, original DryLink. What is DryLink Pro? The technology breakthrough behind DryLink Pro. Then I really want to make sure we do this live app and web portal demonstration. It's important to be able to see, whoops, it's important to be able to see how this works in actual use. And then I want to show you how to evaluate the value and the pricing. Pricing, of course, always comes up, and it should. There are things that we do in terms of how many assets you have, what kind of equipment you have, what you're trying to do. There's a lot of variables there, but I definitely want to show you so you can get an idea about the pricing and the value. And then we're going to have a Q&A at the end. Have Amanda from our marketing department on the call. She's going to help me by monitoring questions. You can send questions in as we go. If they're pertinent to exactly what we're talking about, she might, interrupt me to get that answered. But mainly, we'll have a Q&A at the end, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have. Okay, so I want to talk about the problems that can be solved. This is important. This is getting down to the economics of why would you do this. So labor being difficult to find. So there's a lot of ways we're going to solve that, but and they're really important. But this really helps with that problem of having skilled technicians or really any labor to do what you need to do. Margins being under pressure. We know that there's this constant pressure, especially with program work. Margins getting squeezed, and I think there's a lot that DryLINK Pro can do, or I know there is, that can help with that. Then the expectation on documentation is always rising. And then, just lack of visibility for the ownership group in terms of jobs and equipment and vehicles, honestly. We also do that. Okay, so let's jump into the problem number one. Revenue is being left on the job. And what do I mean by that? Well, we have a few different scenarios. One scenario is the technician didn't follow the IICRC. And I realize that every program that you might use can calculate the formula and tell you what you should put on the job. But when you have connected equipment, we have a progress bar. I'm going to show you. I'm going to do it live. And it's going to show like red, yellow, green, or some kind of orange color. And it eventually turns green and lets your technician know not only did we tell you how many to put on the job, we confirmed that you did put that many air movers or that much dehumidification on the job. So that's one thing. Another thing that we learned is that sometimes they put the right amount of equipment on the job, but they forgot to write it down. So again, you can't forget to write it down in DryLINK Pro because we actually connect directly to it. That's the only way to add it to the job. So we eliminate that underbilling of just forgetting to, and people don't do it maliciously, they just didn't write everything down. Then there's the idea of, your record keeping, and this system can actually, it has so much more data, and it actually builds the drying report for you as it goes. And so this idea of, complete accurate records that are the data is flowing in real time, and that can help with not only reductions in your invoices, but slow payments. So these are all ways that this system can help you with revenue. Okay, labor is spent checking, not producing. Okay, this is a big one. So routine monitoring trips, and I want to talk about this because I always or frequently hear the argument that, hey, you have to go to a job, like that's not up for debate. We got to move equipment around. And I totally get that. But here's what I would say. If you have a job with one or two dehumidifiers, that is an opportunity to not go to that job every day. And if you have a big job, so there's a scale here, that's a small job. Then you go to a really big job. Let's say you got 50 dehumidifiers on a commercial job. Of course, you're going to be there every day. But you know what you don't have to do is walk around with a handheld meter and wait for it to acclimate and get those readings. That happens automatically. No one has to do anything. So what I tell people is we run the economics on just saving on average one trip to each job that you could save. On the smaller jobs, it might be more. On the bigger jobs, it may be actually no jobs, no days where you didn't go to the job, but you did save on the readings. So that's a big one. Weekend and holiday job techs. I mean, this gets back to like work-life balance for the technicians. Nobody really, like the technician, they know it's emergency response, but when you're just doing a moisture check, like on a Saturday or Sunday, like the homeowner doesn't want to sit around on the weekend. The technician really doesn't want to go because it's not, you're not like saving the day here. This is just a monitoring check. And then on top of that, the owner is probably paying time and a half for this to happen. So this is a clear situation where it's a good opportunity to save a truck roll. And then we have uh, manual collection and entry of readings. That just, even if whenever you do go to the job site, that is eliminated. You don't have to do that. Management chasing updates from the field. You've got a complete dashboard. It's telling you everything that's going on with your jobs and your equipment. We also have this thing that I really want to show you. We have a training mode built into our app that the owner of the company or the admin is going to be able to administer, where you can take each individual employee and turn on this training mode for each individual flow. Like there's a flow for create a job, there's a flow for create rooms and chambers, so there's a flow for making your visits. And basically, it walks them through literally step by step and tells them what to put in this field or what to do next. So that is a huge advantage, because I've heard many, many times, hey, another app, this is not good. We're trying to, we got enough apps as it is today. We don't want to learn another thing. And so that's always a contentious point for people. We have this training mode. You should be able to just hand anybody, even anybody not in this industry, the app, and it will literally tell them what to do next. So that's a big deal. So this is all, savings on labor. Okay, equipment becomes invisible. So what happens? We go from the warehouse to the vehicle to the job site to another job site, and then it's missing, and we don't know what happened. So we can really solve for this. Current systems, including our current first version of DryLINK, uses what's called last known location. So last known location, so it's better than nothing, right? It's better than just paper. But if somebody takes something and takes it away from the job site, we just know the last time somebody scanned it with a phone or a gateway or something like that. With DryLINK, we have a solution for this. We have basically the gateway is going to be built into the dehumidifier with its own cellular and GPS, and it can figure out its own location. So this is a huge advancement. Another thing on the equipment tracking, other tags, including our current system, batteries last for 2 years, dead batteries lead to lost equipment. And I can tell you that if you have a fleet of thousands of equipment and you have to change batteries every 2 years, it's not only a big pain, it's a big cost. And so we have this advanced tag with a 10-year battery, and the cost is basically the same as the existing tags. So that's a huge advancement. Equipment can be left behind on completed jobs. We know that. It definitely happens. So when you have this kind of tracking, we can let you know, hey, you left it at this job. You should go back and get this piece of equipment. Underutilization drives unnecessary purchases and rentals. We know this too. If you know where all your equipment is, you know which truck is closer to what job and what's exactly on that truck, you can make better decisions and save on purchases and rentals. We also have reports that to help you with your equipment utilization, to kind of let you know when you really should be thinking about getting additional equipment. Okay, now I want to point out that these issues are all connected, and that's why we've been working on DryLINK Pro all these years, is that we're trying to solve the same gap, which the gap is really lack of connected equipment in a way that somebody could use this on all jobs, always know where all their equipment is, always know where all their trucks are, and even when a dehumidifier goes missing, it's got its own cellular, its own GPS. Even when you're setting up a job, you don't have to bring a gateway anymore. It's already built in to the dehumidifiers. So we're solving for connected issues with connected equipment. So that's really important. Okay, so now I want to see if I can get a poll going here. So let me put this up. Let's see. Okay, so the first poll is going to be on the problems. So we'll put this up here. Which issue has the greatest financial impact on your company? So we'll leave this up for a minute, and then we'll show the answers. I see somebody's raised their hand. I can't turn on the audio, so if you want to put a question in there, maybe Amanda can look into that and maybe let me know what that is if it's pertinent to what we're doing at the particular moment. Okay, so you can see we still got answers coming in. It looks like, uh, raised hand again. Again, I can't really turn on your audio, so maybe put something in the chat. So it looks like we're just about done here. We've got about 40 answers. Just another minute here, and we'll end the poll. Got 42 answers. Looks like the number one is accurate and timely documentation. Then labor shortage, then margins under pressure, then lack of real-time visibility of jobs and equipment. So we'll just end this and let you see the results here. So there's what we came up with, just so everybody can see. All right, we'll keep moving here. Let's see, close that. Okay. Now, why did previous approaches leave gaps? Well, I spent a year studying this, and that's what led us to DryLINK Pro. Okay, so in the traditional approach, a gateway must be brought to each job site. And connectivity in the DryLINK Pro approach is built into every dehumidifier, and every piece of equipment is connected. The second problem we noticed was range and connectivity limited by Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. So, that is a problem. We had it with original DryLink. If you do commercial work, it was hard to tell people where to put a dry phone because it was hard to know what would connect to what and where it should be. But we have in DryLink Pro cellular, Wi-Fi, GPS, and long-range mesh networking for broad visibility. So in other words, you just put your dehumidifiers on the job and they connect to either each other or the internet, and there is no gateway to bring, it connects itself. This is a huge advancement, especially for
Hey,
commercial work.
hey, Aaron, can
Yeah,
somebody has a comment on connectivity. They say I work in a high rise with 22 stories in each tower.
yep.
I have 6 dehumidifiers. Can the dry tag 2 tell me what floor the equipment is located on?
Yeah, well, it will tell you what floor it's located on because you're going to build out your rooms and chambers and you're going to put that connected equipment in there. So you're going to know where it is. But secondly, it's going to connect on its own. We can do a high rise. Like it doesn't, it's a scalable system. So as long as one dehumidifier, if a dehumidifier doesn't have cellular, it just needs to be within long range radio distance of another dehumidifier, which is 5x Bluetooth range. And all of them have their own cellular built in, so they should just connect to the internet. So I hope that answers that. But we can do high rises. That's really the point of the long range radios and mesh networking. Okay.
One more question, Aaron,
Yeah.
on that. Will this assist with service tracking, repair diagnosis, or notification of need for service and repair?
It does. So, but really only on Phoenix Smart equipment. You will, like everything we know that is in our system, we're going to show you on a dashboard. So, like, for example, if you have a pump out error, and it could be anything, it could be somebody blocked the drain hose. But if you have a pump out error, you're going to know that. You're going to know it in real time, and you're going to see it online. And I'll show you that when we get to the dashboard. Okay, in current systems, dehumidifiers only show their last known location. But now the dehumidifier has onboard GPS and cellular, even when it's unplugged. So the system is much more advanced. And so if a dehumidifier, and it's this dry hub that's on board is smart. So it knows if it's on a job, it just does the things for a job. If it's in the truck of the warehouse, it can see it's in the truck of the warehouse, so it just kind of chirps and says, "Here I am." But if it doesn't know where it is, it turns on its GPS and cellular and locates itself. So that's a huge advantage. Uh, Tag batteries I've already talked about. We've got up to a 10-year battery life. It depends how often you use the chirping feature and the light feature, but basically up to a 10-year battery on the Dry Tag 2. And the other thing I noticed is other systems, they got like one vendor for asset tracking, another for remote monitoring, another for fleet management. Like we do all of that. So our fleet management, we're going to keep building out. We don't have the front and rear facing cameras right now, but we are going to build all of that out. But we do track your trucks. We do show you where they are and all those kind of things. So all of this in one platform. Okay. So the breakthrough really was what I talked about with the dehumidifier becoming the job site hub. So once you put a dehumidifier on the job, that any dry hub, once it sees it's on a job, it activates and it starts scanning and doing its thing. And this is where this is a huge breakthrough. We also had some other problems with the dry phones where like homeowners would unplug them because they thought somebody left their phone behind and then the dry phone would die, or Android would send an update to the operating system and it would stop our communication. So there were other problems with that. The Dry Hub is made by us, designed by us, and we have a patent on it, and it's the heart of this whole system. So you can see you got smart dehumidifier, and then we collect all this data, and then it all goes to the app and the web portal. And that long range mesh is just a huge deal. These are big advancements in this industry, for sure. Okay. The next thing I wanted to talk about here is just the technology that's traveling with the equipment. So all this stuff is built in. So it's not like you don't go to the job site and say, okay, now I'm at the job site. I got to take this sensor that I got from somebody and I got to hang it on this thing, or you know, I got to, it's all already on the equipment. So you have the built-in dry hub. Built-in dry hub is going to be standard on every Phoenix dehumidifier. In fact, every Phoenix piece of equipment is going to come with smart connected devices on it. And the beauty of when it's built into the Phoenix dehumidifier, that dry hub charges itself when it's on a job site. We have the Dry Hub retrofit, which is awesome. You can now add the Dry Hub retrofit onto any dehumidifier. And once you do that, that is now a smart dehumidifier that joins has all the same features. The Dry Hub Plus retrofit, it has rechargeable lithium ion batteries that you can replace just swap them out every 6 months to a year, and you're good to go there. Uh, Dry Tag 2 and Dry Tag RH2, by the way, everything's backwards compatible with, well, let me be clear about that. Backwards compatible with Dry Sense, Dry Tag AM, Dry Tag RH. The only things that aren't backwards compatible is the dry phone doesn't work in the new system. If you own dry phones, talk to us about that. We'll help you out there. Same thing with the System 1 gateways. They don't work in the new one. We've got much easier to use gateways. Again, if you have those, come talk to us. We'll figure out how to make that right for you. So then DrySense 2, moisture content sensing, improved usability, a lot easier to use. Really important, your moisture content should be part of your justification of why your dehumidifiers are on the job. If the dry sense is showing that the materials are wet, we need the air as dry as possible to keep the vapor pressure so that we're continuing to dry as quickly as possible. You have vehicle and warehouse connectivity, as I mentioned, and you got these long life tracking devices. This is such a huge deal. Anybody that's used them, they're great, but after 2 years, changing all those coin cell batteries is really a pain. By the way, works across mixed brands and fleets. You can have all of our competitors' equipment, and we have people actually, and you can have all. You don't have to have any Phoenix equipment, and you can use this. So that's important. Okay. So this is, just kind of the flow, right? You've got connected equipment, you've got automatic data. So this is happening without anybody having to do anything. You've got these dashboards, and I'm going to show them to you. They're going to be keeping track of all this, and we're going to point out if anything's not going right. Uh, and then we're documenting all these things that are happening. Like I said, when you connect to equipment to add it, we know the exact time you did it. We know the geolocation. We know who added it. We know everything about it, the serial number, everything. And then at the end, what does this all lead to? Business outcomes. more profitable jobs, cleaner invoices. This is really important. Okay, so now I want to get to the live demo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move to sharing on my phone. So let me see just a moment. This might take me just a sec. I'm going to stop sharing here and move over to my phone. So I want to show you from a technician standpoint what this would look like. Um, so let's see here. Okay, we'll get this going. Okay, now, uh, oh, I gotta apologize. I got logged out somehow, so let me get back in there. Okay, something always happens in a live demo. All right. Okay, so here's what the home screen looks like. If you're a technician, you're going to normally be at the very bottom. You see there's like home, jobs, equipment. You're mainly going to be in the jobs tab. So I've got one job in here that I put in here just because I wanted to show you something that we wouldn't have time to wait for in a live demo. But so I'm just going to add a job. I'm just going to call it Webinar Job 2. So I'm just going to type this in. Webinar Job 2. There's a place for a project ID if you use that. By the way, we have various integrations. That's a whole nother conversation, but happy to talk about that at the end. I'll say it's a category 2 loss. We'll see if I input the right information for that. Street address, it does, Google autocomplete. So it's just going to look for something well, that's kind of far away. Let me find something in Madison here. All right, Milwaukee. We'll do a job in Milwaukee. Okay, so now it pulls up the address. Oops, sorry. There's spot for insurance information, contact information. You can add as many contacts as you want. I'm just going to move to create job and set up chambers. Okay, now this is what your technician will see. So room 1, let's just say it was a water loss in the kitchen. So we'll start typing, put that in there. Oh yeah, classification. I told you the wrong thing earlier. So I'll say this is 30 by 20 by 10. We'll say the floor is 100% wet. Walls are 20% wet walls. I don't know. We'll say 15 linear walls. We'll say 20 feet. I'm just doing this kind of quick just because just showing you what you do here. Insets and outsets, I put 1. Okay, so it's got all the information we need. So we're going to hit Save Changes. And now this is what you'll see. Now you could add more rooms, you could add more chambers, but at the bottom, which you can't quite see, is done with rooms and chambers. Oh yeah, you can see it. Okay, so now I'm done with that. Now you see how I'm getting the check marks? I added the job information, green check mark. I added my rooms and chambers, got a green check mark. Now it's saying ICRC not met. That's because I haven't added any equipment. So I'm going to go add the equipment now. And I want to show you how this works. Okay, so the nice thing about this is if I go to my unaffected area and then I go to add a sensor to it, it's showing me nearby sensors. So I'm just going to pick the first one here, and that's going to be for my unaffected area sensor. Okay, so you can see it was added. Now I'm going to go back here and look again. Now I want to do my affected area sensor. So I'm going to go add equipment, and it's showing me 3 there on a job. Here's one not on a job. I'm going to add it. Let's add it to the kitchen as my affected area. By the way, if you have a smart Phoenix dehumidifier in an affected area, by default, it will take the inlet of the smart dehumidifier and assign it, so you won't even need a sensor for the inlet. Okay, going back, now let's add the equipment, all right? So we're in the kitchen, we're gonna add the equipment. Now you can see it wants 120 pints of dehumidification. So I'm gonna hit add dehumidification, and I'm gonna go down here, and I'm gonna click on this one. I'm just gonna show you what happens. I only added 75 pints. I added an R150. I'm doing this on purpose because I want you to see what the system's gonna do. You can see that I actually don't have enough dehumidification. I'm going to assign it. Now I'm going to go down to the air movers, and on add air movers, now you see it says the target is 11 to 15. So I'm just going to start clicking on them till I got enough. Almost there. I need two more. Okay, so I've got 11, and it turned green because I'm in the range at least. And so I'm going to assign all these. Okay, so those are all assigned. Now you see what I mean? It's showing me a nice thing too is you don't have to, you can search for non-smart equipment, but the nice thing about connected equipment is let's just show the stuff that's nearby. I mean, we don't need our whole inventory. Just show me what's nearby, and that's what I want to add. I don't want to add stuff back at the office. Okay, and I'm going to go to meters, and I'm just going to add one. I'm going to add this DrySense, and then I'm going to keep going. Now air scrubbers. Let's just add one air scrubber. By the way, we're going to add a calculator into this flow to tell you, based on 4 air changes or 6 air changes, how much CFM you need. So I'm going to assign that. Okay. Then we'll go to moisture points. I'm just going to do one to add that one sensor. So we'll add that one DrySense. I'm going to add it. And then there's an other. We're not going to do anything with the other. So we have all the equipment we need for this job, right? We added it into the room. Now, when I try and go out, you can see I'm still orange on my, it says ICRC not met. And by the way, back at the office on the web portal, we're going to show you that as well. So when I try and go out of equipment, it's still red. It's still telling me like, hey, you're not done yet. But I'm going to leave it because I'm doing this intentionally. And well, but I am going to go back here and show you one more thing though. Um, there's this Dry Hubs button up here, and you can click on it just to make sure that any of your Dry Hubs, they should say active. So this is in active mode. It's just a way to double check if you want to make sure. But another way to check if everything's coming online is when you go to take your first visit. Now it can take up to a couple of minutes. So we're not going to, for the sake of this webinar, I'm not going to wait around for it. But this little icon up here shows you your remote monitoring readiness. And when this turns green, so I'm going to close this. When this turns green up here, so it could take a few minutes, but once it turns green, that means we're receiving data from this job site, from all the equipment. You have remote monitoring enabled, and you can leave because your remote monitoring is working and you're good to go. So that's the point of that. So this is what it looks like from the technician's point of view. I am going to show you a visit. Like if I go to now I'm doing this for the sake of time. I'm going back to webinar job 1. Now I created that in advance. You can see it's all green. But if we go into the visits, you see how this is green up here? This is just what I wanted to show you. When it's green, if I click on it, it's going to show me all the devices that are on this job and that they're online and ready. Now another thing is if I hit add visit, I could just take a visit right now if I wanted to, and you're going to see that we should get all this, everything come in. Oh, that's interesting. One of them, for some reason, we didn't get one of the DrySenses. That's interesting. Again, always something on live demos. Let me see if I refresh this. Assigned to kitchen wall to wood. Maybe yeah, not sure. Okay, but in all these readings should fill in. For some reason, Wallwood one didn't. I'll have to look into that. So the nice thing is then you hit complete visit. Now this shows you the system is smart enough. It's like, hey, wait a minute. Before you leave, you don't have a reading for wall 1 wood. You don't have that. So you can complete the visit anyway, which I'm going to do, but it's nice that it keeps track of that for you. Okay, so now I do want to show you another thing. This is not fully implemented yet because we're not quite launched, and I will tell you the launch date. But we have this thing called walkthroughs, and this is what I was telling you about for training mode. So like job setup. So if I click on job setup, this is how it's going to look to somebody that's new. Tap this job to begin the job setup walkthrough. You'll set up chambers, rooms, and dimensions. And as you click in, it's going to tell you everything. Tap chamber to set up room, so it just walks you through every single step. And when an employee is proficient enough, and they'll probably be tired of the walkthrough, and they come tell you, hey, I know how to use this app. Can you turn this off? and that's how you can train somebody without having to, have another person train them. So I'm just gonna back out of it. Of course, I can't back out of that. Okay.
Hey, Aaron, can we ask a couple questions about the app?
Yep. Go ahead.
Um, so somebody's saying chambers aren't always just one room. Does this allow you to create multiple rooms into one chamber?
Yes, absolutely. So, yes, there was a screen where when I added the first room, there was a choice I could make. It was add another room to this chamber, add another chamber, or I'm done with rooms and chambers. I selected I'm done with rooms and chambers due to time constraints of the webinar, but absolutely you can create as many rooms in a chamber as you need and as many chambers as you need. So, great question. And yes, we do allow for that.
We do have some questions about integrations. Do you want to answer that now, or or do you want
Um,
to wait for
I
that?
think integrations I'll take at the end.
Okay.
So we're gonna move along, but I can't. There's not time to show everything in the app, but just know that there's this home screen. There's an equipment list that's going to show you all your equipment. Green lights tell you everything that's online. You can see almost everything is online. So this is what the app looks like. This is your main screen for your technicians. And so I'm going to stop sharing from the mobile. Now, what I want to do is I want to go to the perspective of somebody back at the office. So for that, I'm going to put the sharing back onto my computer. So yeah, this is showing you how live demo part one. So now we're going to move to live demo part two. And so I will switch my screen over here. So now we're in the same company. Oh, you can see the equipment's now online. We got the green check mark from job number two. So this is what the job screen looks like uh, on the web portal. And what's interesting here is we've got these issues we're keeping track of for you. So ISCRC, the errors there would be they didn't enter the room dimensions, so we couldn't calculate it, or that you just didn't follow the recommendations. So that's your ISCRC issues. Now, I made it issues intentionally. Data error means you're missing a reading. So that's a data error. Equipment error means that one of our smart pieces of equipment is reporting something like a pump out error or whatever the error may be. Any error from our equipment will surface for you so that you know. So that's what this looks like. You get these green check marks, which is so nice because hey, we're remote monitoring, everything is online, we're good to go. And what's nice about this is, so this is what I call the table view. Now there's a map view. Now I put one in Milwaukee, so there's one, so the map's kind of big. But this drying data view, I want to show you this. So in the drying data view, we're going to give you a graph of all your equipment on that job. So here's your affected area readings. This is a job I set up last night. Here's your outside and unaffected. Here's your moisture content. So I took a 2x4 and put it in some water and then, screwed in the sensors and you can see it's going down. And then your dehumidifiers, I just have a dry tag RH, but all your dehumidifiers would be listed individually. So you have this level of information on your job screen. So again, we're trying to point out errors and we're trying to give you all the data easily from one screen. That's what this dashboard is for. Now, I also want to show, well, that this is this is actually the jobs list, I should have said. Now we have a jobs dashboard. Now on the jobs dashboard, we're keeping track of all kinds of things. And for time's sake, I won't go through everything, but not following ICRC, missing chamber dimensions, uh, chamber out of range, you can set your temperature and relative humidity ranges, missing readings, low grain depression, pump out air. So there's all kinds of things we're keeping track of. It's a little map. This is showing all the jobs I've put on here for various situations. It'll keep track of your technicians, who's completing jobs, who has active jobs if you do job assignments. There's a nice one here. Jobs with stagnant moisture points. If your moisture point is not making progress, and you can tell it by how long and what needs to happen. Like If it isn't going down within 12 hours, can you let me know? So we're keeping track of all this data on the screen for you. There's also another dashboard called Equipment Dashboard. The Equipment Dashboard, like it sounds, is keeping track of everything having to do with equipment. And we're trying to point that out to you. So there's lots of stuff on here. I really don't have time to go through everything, but I wanted you to get the understanding of like, how does it look from a technician's point of view? How does it look from somebody back in the office? And how would this work in practical purposes? And this is what it looks like. And we have companies, uh, you know, beta test companies doing this every day. And so we're constantly working on this. And this is what it looks like. There's a settings tab that has like, all kinds of different things where you set everything up. We have this critical issues tab. If you have any problems with any of your gateways, we put them on here for you. I have things that I've intentionally made happen, but we keep track of everything for you basically. Okay, so that's probably all I have time to show right now. Well, maybe I can show just real quickly. Tagged assets. This is what, well, let me show you on a bigger company. Here's a company that's using our system. I'll just put their vehicles on here. Um, just so you can see what it looks like. If I click on box truck 27, it zooms in. I can see exactly what's on it. 1 DU, 12 air movers, 3 air scrubbers. Here's the equipment name and the serial numbers on that unit right now. So this is what the asset tracking looks like. Um, and, we can, if we, this is everything on a map. And as you zoom in, the numbers break apart to show you, what's going on. This seems like they got sometimes if they haven't entered a job, it shows up as like a bunch of equipment all in one. So this is certainly a job. Somebody just probably hasn't added the job yet, but it keeps track of all this information for you. And this is what this particular customer's uh, information looks like right now. Okay, so with that, I'll stop this, or actually I'm going to go back to our webinar. Let's see here. So that was the live demo. I hope that was useful. We'll keep moving just due to time. So what just happened? Technician followed a consistent workflow, and we have a training mode. Connected devices supplied the information. Management gains visibility without driving. We alert and highlight where attention is needed. We document as it happens, everything that's going on, and equipment stays visible from start to finish. So this is what I was trying to demonstrate for you and what this system can provide. Okay, now how do we create value? Now I've talked about this some. Capture more revenue, and I've talked about these. Document the deployed equipment, maximize IIC, RC, and reduce missing job information. I went through a lot of this. Reduce unproductive labor, fewer trips. You're saving truck rolls, less manual data entry. Actually, it should be none if you're using the system fully. Faster management reviews. Protect your investment. You've got visibility to all your equipment, reduce equipment losses, improve your utilization, and strengthen your documentation. That was one of the bigger things that people said was really a problem. So these are things that DryLINK can create value for you, a lot of value. Okay, so I'm going to try one more poll. Which DryLINK Pro capability would create the most value for you? So let me go back to my polls. Whoops, let's see here. Okay. Uh, Whoop, apologize. Um, Trying to figure out how to get, oh, back. Okay, now we'll do the capabilities. Okay, so here's the poll. I'll try and in the background get back to the slideshow. Which DryLINK Pro capability would create the most value for your business? And I'll leave this up for a minute and then I'll show the results, see what everybody is putting on here. It's interesting. The documentation is a big one. I think people are missing the boat on the truck rolls. I got to tell you, I could go through the business case on it. It's a massive one truck roll would save the value of the cost of the entire system. One truck roll per job. So I got to tell you, that's a big one. But definitely strengthening documentation is really what people are saying here. We'll leave this up just for another minute. Actually, more than half the people are saying strengthen documentation. Okay. All right, we got 44 answers. That's pretty good participation. So I'm gonna end the poll and show it. Um, Share results. Here we go. So you can see what we got. We got number one, strength in documentation by far. I know protect equipment investment is a big one. Everybody usually comes to me and talks about asset tracking. Again, I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm glad that you find value here, but man, think about especially if you got a two-person crew, and if you're in a bigger city, like the amount of time and effort to go drive somewhere is massive. And by the way, what I tell everybody is our successful remote monitoring customers bill for monitoring. They go most of the time, and when they don't, they're still billing for monitoring. Unfortunately, the remote monitoring codes are old and antiquated. I'm trying to get those updated. I suggest you don't use those for now, just because adjusters aren't used to it and they push back on that. Okay, so that's our poll. Just go out of that. We'll keep moving here. All right. So I just want to talk about, again, I want you to understand, obviously there's a cost to this. If it's not outweighed by the benefits, you should not do it. So I just took a small contractor, a multi-location contractor, and a large loss operator, and I tried to show you what the costs and benefits would look like. Um, and so, there's not just one price. It's like, what plan are you selecting? Are you doing both asset tracking and remote monitoring? How many assets are in your company? Uh, the type of connected devices. There's a lot of variables to it. That's why it's hard to just, tell you, oh, here's the price. Now, this is what pricing looks like. What you gain: capture revenue, labor savings, reduce lost equipment, and faster payments. Then you obviously have to subtract the subscription, the cost of connectivity, and the hardware. So let's look at the total impact to your business, and then you'll know, is this worth the price or not? Okay, so I know that I don't have the time to walk through all these, but we're happy to walk through your individual case. And I'm going to put up a QR code where you can scan at the end to book a demo. We'll walk through exactly, and you can see the inputs. So I know you can't see the inputs here, but just know that truck rolls are a big part of this. So small contractor, 300 assets, 300 jobs a year, 5 trucks. Upfront investment, 17K. Annual subscription, 3,800. Annual benefit, 72,000. 3-year net savings, 188. So, I mean, I'm not going to go through them all, but you can see the scenario. I have never seen it not pay back in 6 months. So it's a solid investment. I mean, obviously you have to, do it. You have to make this happen, but the value is definitely there. So that's what this looks like. Okay, then uh, what is the DryLINK Pro difference? The equipment becomes data. So your DUs and sensors join information systems instead of just being a piece of equipment. The documentation writes itself. I didn't have time to show you, but you can have it set up so that your jobs, once you create that first visit, it just auto creates every 24 hours. Or you can tell it a time of day. Like, I want readings on all my jobs at 9 p.m. Or you can, even at the individual job level, you can say, on this job, I want readings at 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. or whatever you want. Visibility without extra work. Now the dehumidifier is the gateway. You just roll it in and it connects itself. So we're not having extra work on the job site. So smarter jobs, connected equipment, better business results. Okay, this is just some of what our customers are saying. Just thought I'd put this up here. This is contractors using the system, loving the system, seeing the benefits, and coming back and telling us. Okay, now it's been a tough year to get devices in terms of electronics. We're competing with all the data centers that are going in and all the electronics that goes into that. But with that said, we are going to have our launch date on October 1st. I wanted to announce that. And what does that mean? It means we're going to start shipping equipment and devices. The app will be live in the App Store and the Google Play for your mobile devices, and the web portal will be live. So that's what that means. Now we're taking orders now. So we've already had some big orders come in, but we are going to start shipping on October 1st. So that's important. I also wanted to point out we are running a special for anybody that wants to do it, and we're extending it to September 5th, I think it is, 1 week longer, just because we're having a hard time keeping up with all the demos. You can get 10% off on a pre-order by the end, through the end of, I guess that's next week. Yeah, next Friday. Okay, so now I have this up here, this QR code. This is what we would suggest is, review if you get a demo with us and we can walk you through everything, we can review your current job workflow, identify revenue and labor opportunities like I was showing, determine the right plan and device configuration. We'll go through the ROI calculator. We have an ROI calculator and we can say, hey, this is what we're thinking. Does that make sense to you? And you could say, I don't think that makes sense for us. We do this, or we do this many jobs a month, and it auto calculates all this for you. And then the pricing will be specific to your operation, including the whole ROI. I'm going to leave this up here. We're going to move into the Q&A section of this. We're already at 10:51, so we got about 9 minutes left. So Amanda, if you could help me out with the questions that have come in, I'll try and answer them all. You can contact me. Well, book a demo and we'll answer anything you got. If you have my email address, you can email me. Okay, Amanda, what do you got for me?
Okay, so maybe we just start with the integrations question. There seems to be quite a few. One is DryLINK open API?
Yes. So at launch, so the open APIs are going to come after launch, but we are doing open APIs. And what does that mean? What an open API means, just so people are clear about this, if some other system wants data from us, we're going to have open APIs, which means they can, whoever's trying to get data from us, they need to work with us, but we have all the documentation of how to get that data. For example, if you wanted to get data from a specific dehumidifier, you want its location, you want its readings, you can get it, but it's work on the person doing the integration. So open APIs are people getting data from us. Okay, so there's other integrations where we're getting data from other systems. So like, for example, if you use Encircle and you don't want to type the job in Encircle and type the job in DryLink, we have an integration where the job automatically goes into DryLink. So that's a different type of integration. Okay, what else? What do you got?
What about point of rental?
Point of rental. This is a great question. So one of my initiatives for next, it's probably going to wind up being next year, is to get some of the major rental companies on board, because the idea would be, hey, if I'm a rental company, if I'm like Sunbelt and I deploy and somebody's got all DryLink stuff and they love it because they're like, I can't get to all the jobs in an event. So when I rent my equipment, I want an XL Pro Plus because it'll just connect into my system and do all the data. So today there are not rental companies set up to make that happen, but that is one of my major initiatives, is to get rental companies on board with this so that it would be like a special DryLink account where they would be a secondary owner and they could rent it to any contractor who it would automatically show up in their system and just do its thing. So that's a great question. Glad somebody asked that.
Okay, can you tell us a little bit about the security? So how secure are these devices on the units? Are they capable of falling off or being stolen easily, or is there a way to keep them safeguarded?
Yeah. So there's some trade-offs. So if you so you can so we put the devices, we put the dry hub that we build in inside the dehumidifier because it's wired into our wiring harness. So that's how it recharges itself. but the tags on our dehumidifiers, like on the Air Max, they're kind of up under the little hood part of it. They're tucked in under there. The trade-off is, I mean, you can put them on the inside of an air mover if you wanted to, but then it's, it'll be hard to see the LED light, or if you make it chirp, it might be a little muffled. So there's some trade-offs there, but mainly I mean, once you get them screwed on, they're pretty tough. But I know people can break anything. So, there's trade-offs there. The other thing is if you get the dry hub retrofit, you can put it on the inside of the outlet grill, but then you have to charge it with a USB-C. That's once every 6 months to a year. When you put it somewhere else on the outside where you can access the batteries easily, you can just swap the batteries. So, it's yes, there's some risk, but people are using it all the time, and we're not having like massive problems. I mean, but yes, it's possible to break something.
Okay. And then can you talk a little bit about the connectivity as far as somebody's asking what's the range for Bluetooth?
So, Bluetooth, so it all depends on what kind of materials it's going through. But I just want to be clear, this isn't just Bluetooth. All of this stuff, like even those tags, they got a long range radio on them. That's 5 times Bluetooth. Like Bluetooth is like 30 to 50 feet. The range is 5x that. And they're at a low, they're in what's called a sub gigahertz radio. And that frequency is meant to more easily go through materials and things. So that's why we use these long range radios and this mesh networking. So this is not limited to Bluetooth by any means. We kept Bluetooth because that way you can see it in your phone, and that's the most important. That interaction on your phone is nice to have Bluetooth. Okay, what else you got?
What about insurance companies? Will they take this over mitigate and will this link with Dash?
Yeah, so we're I'll just say we're open to linking with Mitigate. So, like, if Mitigate wanted to build out, use our open APIs and connect to our stuff and get the data and put it in Mitigate, I got no problem with that. But so far they haven't done the integration. We've talked to them a lot. And then as far as insurance, yeah, I know that there's certain carriers that'll only take Mitigate. I would say that we're working to change that. I think that the value of connected equipment to just everybody is just too strong of a value. So I don't have an integration with Mitigate right now.
Okay, and the geofence capability, will it let you know when it leaves the zone set?
Yeah, so the way it works is the geofence. So we keep track of everything through geofencing, and it's all part of the whole system. So we know when something's on a job, we know when it leaves a job. If your technician forgets to take something off a job in the app, but we see it leave the geofence, we'll take it off the job. So we definitely use geofencing.
Okay, and then what is the anticipated life of the Phoenix DryTag RH units? So I think the
Oh,
Phoenix DryTag RH2s.
okay, so the DryTag RH2 has a 10-year battery, same as the other tag. And it should last 10 years. I mean, it's probably, I mean, as long as they don't break the tip off, it probably, and I recommend you put those on the inlet side or the inside of the outlet grill and zip time because you don't need to really get to them and you can see them and they don't block the sound. So that's where I put them. And if you do that, they should last 10 years, no problem.
And then somebody asks, if I buy one unit, will it be compatible with my existing units? Will it read and record the data from the old units?
Yeah. So on the old units, the dry tag is compatible, the dry tag RH is compatible, the dry sense is compatible. Uh, though those are the main. Am I missing anything? Those are all compatible. The things
So
that
they would
aren't
just
com
need to attach, new dry tags or something to their older units so that way they can read.
no, it'll read the old. Like if you have an air mover and it has a dry tag on it, you're just gonna have to load it into DryLINK Pro, but it'll read that tag. You don't need to. You don't have to get a new tag.
So it'll read old DryLink units. Okay.
Dry tags, dry tag RH, dry sense. It'll read them.
Okay. And then I think you said this before, but it does integrate with Encircle.
We do have the job integration with Encircle. Don't confuse that with a Hydro integration. That would be a lot of work for Encircle, but we're totally open to it. If they want Hydro to hit our cloud and get the readings, we do that integration, but that doesn't exist today. The one that exists today is jobs come our way, we send a report back to them.
Okay, I think we've covered all the questions here.
Okay,
Um,
that's great. Please, if you haven't scanned the QR code, if you're really interested or have further questions, please just book a demo. We're happy to go through this with you. And look, if it doesn't make sense to you, I don't have a problem with that. I just think if you really look at it and you sit down with us, the economics are pretty undeniable. It's definitely going to be the way this industry is going to go. And I think we're far ahead of what I see anybody else doing. So would love to, have a demo and get a chance to show the system. And if it makes sense for your business, that's great. If it doesn't, that's okay too. All right. Well, if we don't have any more questions, I think we're coming up on the hour. We are, and really appreciate everybody's time. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
oh,
I'll send out
sorry,
the what?
sorry, one more thing, Aaron. There was some questions about how do they order to get the 10% discount? I
Okay.
did put a link in the chat
Okay.
to the shop on DryLink
Yeah, the shop on
website.
DryLink Pro, there's a code. I don't remember the exact, I think it's DLP10 is the code. That'll be good through the end of next week. Also still talk to your Phoenix sales rep and make sure you understand, what you need for your company, but you can order it off the shop and get the discount.
Okay, and then what about the giveaways?
Yep, I'm going to send that out. I'm going to get the list of everybody that was on the webinar, do a random drawing, and send out the list to everybody so they know who won what, so everybody's clear. Okay.
Great.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate your time. Look forward to chatting with you, and I hope you see you using DryLink Pro. Thanks.